have you with us this evening for our 15th CAT meeting focused on the Bethesda and Chevy Chase area. This meeting is being recorded, and you'll find this evening's presentation along with that recording soon on our website at purpleLineMD.com. We would also like to inform you that tonight the use of AI-powered tools, including transcription, summarization, or other similar features is prohibited by MTA for all virtual meetings, such as our Microsoft Teams meeting tonight. Please be assured this presentation will be available to view on the Purple Line website as soon as possible, along with the responses to all of the questions answered tonight. And for those of you who would like to have a live translation, the Microsoft Teams format can translate this evening's comments into a number of languages, including Spanish, Arabic, Chinese, French, and others. The instructions for seeing live translations are being placed in the chat right now. We would like to ask everyone to please mute your microphones and keep your cameras off until the presentation ends and we move into questions. We would also like to ask that you limit your questions to one at a time and to 1 minute each so that we can ensure that everybody has a chance, but we will take additional questions after that. Catherine, a member of our communications and outreach team, will now relay this information to you in Spanish.
Buenas tardes y bienvenidos. La aplicación Teams puede traducir esta reunión en vivo en varios idiomas, incluyendo el español, árabe, chino, francés, portugués y muchos más. Las instrucciones para ver las traducciones en vivo están en la sección del chat. Gracias. Thanks, Carla. Back to you.
Okay, great. Tonight, we are going to go over our staff introductions. We're going to show you our new project status video, and we're going to do construction updates, looking at work completed, progress photos, and our upcoming work. And then we'll touch on some community engagements and then move to our question and answer session. Tonight, you're going to hear from Ray Biggs, our Senior Project Director with MTA, Doran Basso, CEO of Purple Line Transit Partners, Luis Rivera, General Manager, PLTO, myself, Carla Julian, Scott Glass, our Construction Area Manager for this area, and Seren Sarkasoon, who is our Design Build Systems Manager. The stations that we're looking at tonight are Bethesda and Connecticut Avenue. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Ray Biggs to introduce our fall progress video.
Thank you, Carla. Again, welcome everyone. Good to see you tonight. Thank you for joining us this evening. As you're about to see, as Carla mentioned in our new fall 2025 progress video, the momentum on the Purple Line in 2024 has now evolved into a tremendous transformation throughout 2025. This video highlights some of the transformational progress across the 16-mile Purple Line alignment. So Chris, without further ado, let's play the video.
It has truly been the year of transformation for the Purple Line project. With construction now more than 80% complete, the new Purple Line tracks tell the story. We are excited to share that tracks have been installed across all of Prince George's County, with more than 75% of tracks complete across the entire project.
Along with track installation, you have likely seen many overhead catenary system poles installed this year. These poles carry the wires that power the Purple Line. At the eastern end of the project, the poles and wires are not only installed, but have already been energized, ready to power up the light rail vehicles.
Just a reminder, always assume light rail system power is on. And please be sure to avoid the Purple Line right-of-way areas. Only cross at designated areas and crosswalks, and be sure to look both ways before you cross.
Across the corridor, stations continue to progress. Canopies, benches, and art and transit installations are being added. Bronze spires in Riverdale, vibrant colors in Long Branch, and more to come. More than 20 roadway crossings that once required detours are now in their completed phase, including the complex intersection of Wayne Avenue and Fenton Street. With the tracks in place, Silver Spring residents can see the vision of a more connected community becoming reality. In Littonsville, the second operations and maintenance facility is taking shape. This building and track yard will support the light rail vehicles with an additional control and communications facility and a smaller maintenance facility located in Montgomery County. Another major milestone is the completion of blasting in Bethesda. After years of excavation, the shaft and cavern, located nearly 150 feet, or about 15 stories underground, is finished. Crews are now focused on waterproofing and concrete work, building out the cavern and elevator spaces. Perhaps most exciting during our year of transformation, dynamic testing of the Purple Line has begun. Light rail vehicles are running during nighttime hours between the Glenridge Operations and Maintenance Facility and New Carrollton. The vehicles and track systems undergo rigorous checks of safety, operational, and communications. With New Carrollton testing underway, it won't be long before testing expands westward along more sections of the Purple Line.
Seeing a Purple Line light rail vehicle arrive at the first of our 21 stations is an exciting reminder of the hard work and dedication all of our teams bring every day to complete this transformative project. Thank you for your support, patience, and engagement over this past year. We at Maryland's Purple Line are looking forward to coming to a station near you soon.
Thank you, Catherine. Here you can see the timeline graphic with some of our upcoming major milestones, including our winter 2025 delivery date of all 28 light rail vehicles to the Glenridge Operations and Maintenance Facility on Veterans Parkway, and completing track installation in the spring of next year across the entire alignment. Though I do want to highlight that all track has been installed in Prince George's County. So tonight you'll see and hear more details about the expanded dynamic testing milestone achieved earlier this summer, and where the Purple Line will expand this dynamic testing throughout this fall and into 2026. With that, I will turn it over to Scott to walk us through the construction slides. Thanks everyone, and I'll see you at the end. Over to you, Scott.
Thank you, Ray. Our updates in Bethesda, we're making a lot of progress in the underground portion of the connection with the Bethesda Red Line station right now. The Purple Line crews have completed the excavation, including the blasting for the 100-foot shaft and the WMATA Red Line connection to the cavern. We've removed about 13,000 cubic yards of rock, which is actually almost 25 million pounds of rock. Next slide. Bethesda shaft. This is looking down at the street level. You can see the concrete has been brought up on the shaft up to the street level at this point, and we are now our recent work through the course of the summer. We've completed the blasting and the major excavation to this cavern at the bottom. We have been progressing the waterproofing and are nearing the completion of the waterproofing installation around the cavern and in the bottom of the shaft. And we've recently begun the first of the structural concrete placements in the elevator pits and ejector pits at the bottom of the shaft. Upcoming work will be a continued placement of concrete in the cavern to make the elevator lobbies and rooms that are in the connection area, and begin the construction of the elevator and the stairs from the bottom cavern up to the lobby level. Also, we'll be starting in the coming month the removal of the west portion of the temporary building that is in Elm Street. This will give us the access to start the excavation, which is an open cut excavation for the lobby level at the street level. And soon enough, in the same area, we'll be in the late fall, early part of the year, starting the concrete work in this underground lobby area. On the Purple Line station, we've made a lot of progress completing all of the egress, stair, elevator, escalator structures, and also the track through the station. We've completed the installation of the elevators and the elevator machinery. Mechanical and electrical systems are being continually progressed, nearing completion. We've completed the retaining walls in the Woodmont area that you see in the photo here, and we've begun construction on the elevator head house at the street level. Upcoming work will be completing all of the interior station elements in the next quarter, all of the mechanical systems and the permanent power installation and startup. And we'll complete the construction of the head house at the street level. Also, we'll be bringing through the overhead catenary system through this portion of the station to the termination here at the west limit of the Purple Line. In the Bethesda enclosed trainway, the BET, you can see the picture here. The concrete slabs underneath supporting the tracks have been completed for 3/4 of the tunnel underneath the Bethesda trainway. We'll be continuing the track installation through the course of the next month and a half out to the limit of the west end of the Purple Line. Also coming up, we have work that we'll be doing in Wisconsin Avenue in the spring to install a couple of utility connections, gas main adjustments. And in the tunnel itself, we'll be finishing up installing the lighting, fire suppression systems, and finishing the railings and gates in this trainway. As we daylight and leave the trainway at the Elm Street area, we've on the pedestrian bridge itself and the crossing there, the fencing and lighting have been completed. We've paved the CCT trail from Pearl Street up to our access point at Lynn Drive. And upcoming work, we've also been recently, we've closed the ballasted track in this corridor. In the coming months, we'll be finishing the infrastructure of the overhead catenary system poles and wiring that will extend down through this corridor. From Pearl Street all the way up to Connecticut Avenue through the golf course area, we've completed the track installation at Connecticut Avenue and Bethesda in the BET. We've been continuing our work to prepare for asphalt placement on the CCT trail. We've been working on trail connections also at East-West Highway and Kentbury Way and Landmark Court. And we've been working a lot on finishing up all of the retaining wall fencing. Upcoming work in this corridor will be just the finishes, going through and completing all of the CCT asphalt work and remaining fencing that's in that area. We have some landscaping work that'll be happening here later this month. We'll be completing the trail connections at East-West Highway and Kentbury Way and Landmark Court. And the major activity on the alignment will be the installation of the overhead catenary wiring. Next slide. At the Connecticut Avenue station, our station here is nearing completion. Recently, over the last 2 quarters, we've completed a lot of the electrical and mechanical works, but the major milestone was getting the power to the station, the permanent power to the station. We've completed all of the precast stair structures and the structural steel at the stair entry. Water and sewer services is another milestone that we were finished up this last quarter. We've completed the elevator installations, and we've been continuing on the finish elements of the station itself, which you can see in the picture there with the art in transit and the benches and windscreens. Also recently, we've poured the last of the concrete on the CCT bridge, and we're preparing here in the next month to install the final fencing on the CCT bridge over Connecticut Avenue and completing the CCT trail connections to the station and those local developments that are there. And we'll also have the overhead catenary system being installed through this corridor. Chevy Chase Lakes, we've had a lot of recent activity to continue and push to complete the storm drain construction on the south side of Chevy Chase Lakes Drive, which we've actually very recently done and made a traffic switch there, but also in the last quarter, we've finalized the 54-inch water main relocation and the minor water main, 12-inch water main that runs down that, and the sewer mains have been relocated as well. I mentioned we just completed the phase 2 maintenance of traffic switch. Actually, it's in progress now. It should be by tomorrow. I have the traffic switch to our phase 2. And we've begun the box culvert installation, precast concrete box structure that is open cut and set into the ground. That work will continue in this phase 2 in this upcoming next month and a half. We should complete the installation of the box culvert this month and fully restore the Chevy Chase Lakes Drive area by the end of the year. Jones Mill Road has been progressing quite well. We've had a very long challenge with the temporary supportive excavation, which we've recently completed the excavation for the phase 2 of the bridge construction. That's enabled us to begin the bridge foundations for this second half of the Jones Mill Bridge, which are going to be complete in the next week. And very soon, we'll be installing the concrete arches that span both the Purple Line and the CCT. And we'll have some utility relocations as that happens in the month of November. But we'll just continue right through over the next quarter to fully complete the bridge crossing and restore Jones Mill Road. And then the final activities will be the final tie-in of the CCT access there. I mentioned that in the coming weeks, we'll be setting the precast concrete bridge structures on that Jones Mill Bridge. We have planned the week of November 2nd through November 16th to temporarily close that connection so that we are able to set up the equipment to erect those precast structures and set those in place, and also do the necessary utility relocations for that to happen. So this closure will be between Jones Mill Road and Copeland Terrace. This closure is necessary for the crews to complete the utility relocations and construction of the Purple Line underpass. Pedestrian access through the work zone is going to be maintained. Please follow the on-site signage when it's in place during that time. Please note that weather and unforeseen conditions may impact the work schedules. At the Rock Creek Park and the CCT tie into the Rock Creek Trail and Rock Creek Bridge, we've completed the CCT underpass just to the east of the Rock Creek Bridge crossing. Many significant retaining walls have recently been completed, allowing us to prepare the alignment for the rail grading and finish the CCT. We've installed the CCT bridge concrete and are starting to begin the trail connections from the CCT to Rock Creek Trail System. Upcoming work, this area will transform and we'll complete the trail asphalt paving connection into the trail system as we bring the asphalt paving program from west to east on the CCT. We'll complete the CCT asphalt paving and grass swales and the fencing along the CCT retaining walls and the lighting. We have the rail fabrications in progress right now for the Rock Creek CCT bridge railings. Those will be completed, and we'll complete all the remaining permanent fencing through this corridor. And with that, I'll hand it over to Sarin to run through the systems and testing.
Thank you, Scott. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about our current and upcoming test activities. And I'll start with a short video that highlights what we've been doing and what we plan to do in the coming months. Catherine?
Welcome to the Purple Line. Next stop, New Carrollton.
Thank you. So as you can see from the video, we are currently testing. We're testing in our first, what we call our first test section. And we've defined our test sections on the project based on how we control the trains, essentially on the limits of the train control system, so that when we test, we're testing the trains with power, with train control, and with other ancillary systems to complete as much as possible the testing before we move on to the next section. So we're currently in test section 1, which essentially runs from the eastern limit of the project, from the New Carrollton station to the Beacon Heights area. And our next test section, which we plan to begin in a month or so, runs from Beacon Heights to College Park, and then subsequent sections will follow. So while testing is not taking place in your particular part of the project, you can expect to hear more soon from our outreach team to let you know when that testing will start and what it will entail. Typically, as Scott mentioned earlier, the overhead catenary system, once you see the overhead catenary system installed, usually our next step is to get that tested and powered, and then shortly followed by the actual LRVs in that part of the alignment. What to expect during testing. During live train testing, what we call our dynamic testing, where we're actually using a train on the alignment, what you, the public, are going to see for the most part is how we protect our intersections. Our maintenance of traffic crews will control intersections in the test area, and control of the intersections will include uniformed police officers, our own flaggers. We may intermittently, have some road closings, some traffic stops. And so we develop our maintenance of traffic protocol to facilitate our train testing on the alignment and through the intersections, very specifically for the individual test sections, because they're all a little bit different. They all have different challenges. When we do test with trains, our hours of testing will typically be at night from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. As I mentioned, we're currently testing in the first section on the eastern part of the alignment, and we plan to continue testing through the end of 25 and then to move westward, towards the western limit of the project. The public, while we're testing, should consider sections live, expect to see LRVs periodically during the test period, and take necessary precautions as we conduct our nighttime or even daytime testing without the trains. What to expect from our testing outreach as we get closer to testing with the LRVs in your area. Coordination with State Highway Administration and other third parties. Advanced and timely communications to elected officials. On-site notifications. We typically do these with variable message signs in the area. We're going to have in-person outreach to schools, local businesses, and any of the impacted communities to let everyone know what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, and what that's going to entail. Public notifications. And of course, our website is one of your more useful tools. We post updates on our purplelinemd.com website. And our testing, first and foremost, is always focused on safety and getting the message out there in a manner that surrounds safety for you, the general public. Testing safety while we test. We are currently testing, as I mentioned, in test section 1, but we are also testing in the Glen Ridge maintenance facility. We have a test track there. Some of you may have driven past that test track. We test there almost on a daily basis. The LRVs we've got today was our 22nd LRV got delivered, 22 out of 28 now. So as you drive by that area, you will see LRVs running up and down the test track. As we come out and leave the test track area and we start to move westward, we encourage you to obey traffic signals, look for LRVs when you're crossing tracks, use approved crosswalks only, do not walk near or on the tracks, and definitely do not stop or park on the tracks. The overhead catenary system that we spoke about earlier is our power system for the train. It powers the trains, and it carries 1,500 volts DC. Please assume that it's live whenever you see it in your area. And now I'll hand it back over to Carla for some thoughts on community engagement.
Thank you, Saran. All right, and I think most of you know we're out in the community a good bit, and we're always open to new ideas if you have them. But over this last year, we've attended 18 events, some of those including the Bethesda Arts Festival, Sligo Creek Elementary School Back to School Night, National Night Out, and many others. So if you do have an interest for us to coming to a community event, please let us know. You can email outreach@purplelinemd.com. And then just a reminder, again, safety is our #1 focus. So we do work with a lot of folks on our safety campaign. Now that the rails are in the ground, we're reminding bikers to ride perpendicular over those tracks. If you go parallel, there's a chance you could get stuck. So just use extra caution and stay alert to your new conditions. The project team has been very engaged with CAT members over the years, so we appreciate your engagement with us. CAT members were contacted early in 2025 about continued service. A lot of feedback was received. Again, thank you for your time and effort to do that if you are a CAT member. All of that feedback has been implemented, and the team intends on staying very engaged as we move through the duration of the project. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Doran to talk about community grants.
Thanks a lot. Well, another way that we like to interact with the community is through our Beyond the Rails community grant program. If you've been on one of these meetings before, you've heard that the aim of this program is to support nonprofit community organizations by providing additional funding for them to pursue their mission. We do this twice a year through 2 rounds of grants, and the first group in 2025 had a record number of applicants. We were so thrilled with both the number of applications we got and the quality that instead of awarding the usual 6 grants, we awarded 8. So that's pretty exciting for us. And 2 examples of our most recent grants are Safe Kids Worldwide, which provides education for children on pedestrian and bike safety. This summer, we held a joint event with them, and we'll continue to partner with them in order to get out the word on how children can commute safely to and from school, and particularly with a new Purple Line light rail system that may be in their community. Another example is Brighter Bites DC, which services this area and provides food security through home delivery of produce. So this is our call to you and your favorite community group to make an application before the deadline for the next round by November 30th. You can visit our website, purplelinemd.com, and use the resources drop-down tab to do that. Now I'll hand it over to Ray.
I appreciate it, Doran. So our Purple Line Business Relationship Manager, Leslie Leith, who is on tonight, works with the business engagement team all along the alignment, alerting them to construction impacts and providing advanced notifications in both English and in Spanish. This outreach is aimed at minimizing disruption and maximizing awareness as to what's going on. Additionally, our team promotes businesses on our website, our monthly newsletter, soon to come out this month, and over all our social media platforms. I invite you to visit our YouTube channel to see some of the business spotlight videos that we've recently uploaded. The Purple Line Business Grant Program, which is administered by the Secretary's Office of the Maryland Department of Transportation, launched the Small Business Grant Program and has since awarded a total of $1.5 million in 2025 to more than 140 businesses. The application period did open up on this past Monday, and online applications are due by November 7th, 2025 for this period. You can find more information and the application link on our website at purplelinemd.com. Again, you can find more information at our website at purplelinemd.com. I'll turn it back over to you, Carla.
Thank you very much. And now before we go to our live Q&A, we're going to do a few area-specific questions that we have received in advance of the meeting. The first one is, could you please provide an updated and realistic timeline for the opening of the Crescent Trail at the Columbia Country Club adjacency point? Is a spring 2026 opening still a viable target? Ray, I'll let you address that.
Sorry, I was having some issues on my side. Carla, can you repeat that question?
Yes, no problem. Related to the Capitol Crescent Trail, could you please provide an updated and realistic timeline for the opening of the trail at the Columbia Country Club adjacency point? Is a spring 2026 opening still a viable target?
So appreciate that. So we're targeting a spring, summer 2026 construction completion of the Capitol Crescent Trail. And then we'll be working closely, and we're already working closely with Montgomery County on opening that as soon as possible and as safe as we can, as soon as we're finished with the construction in the spring and summertime of next year.
Thank you, Ray. The next 2 questions are related to the Bethesda shaft. So Scott Glass, I'm going to call on you for these. The first one is, when is the project taking down that big and tall white building on Elm Street? Scott, maybe you could remind people what we use that for, and then give a little timeline for that.
Sure. The white building is a temporary building that was erected to minimize the impact from overhead crane to adjacent properties. And The crane that we use to build that work underground is an overhead gantry crane that's inside of that building and needs to be housed inside of that shelter. It also is going to start. It's a two-stage removal process that'll start in the coming weeks, actually, for half of the building, so that we can make way for the open excavation portion of that work. And then in the late spring to early summer, we'll be removing the remaining portion of the building. That won't be the end of construction. We'll be at that point finishing the support work with a more typical type of crane, crawler crane.
Thank you. And then the next question is, when will Elm Street reopen?
The street will be opened at least for one lane in spring to summer of 2027, but it will be fully open by fall of 2027.
All right, thank you, Scott. And now I'm going to move to some live questions. And just a reminder, you can put your questions, which I see some of you already have, in the chat, as well as raise your hand. I'm going to start with some of the questions. Some of the questions in the chat, and then we'll go on to hands that are raised. Okay, first question from Reed. When do you plan to open up the southern end of the Bethesda Red Line station to connect to the Purple Line?
I'll answer that question. There is the Purple Line work to finish the connection with the Red Line station is coordinated with a project that WMATA has recently started to do the interior work in the Red Line station. Both of those projects are scheduled to complete at the same time in late 2027, and at that time be open to the public.
Thanks, Scott. This one's going to be for you too. From Aletta off of Chevy Chase Lake Drive. How much of Chevy Chase Lake Drive will be repaved? Where exactly does the repaving start, and where exactly does it end?
It is about 500 feet to the east, and that goes from, and this is from the center line of our work where we're cutting across the road, and that extends past the second driveway to the east. And then to the west, it extends past the first driveway entrance on the west side.
Thank you. Aletta, I also have a little graphic that I think I've shared before, but I can resend that to you guys so it gives you a little bit of a visual too.
Thank you, Carla. That would be great.
You're welcome. Okay, I'm going to do a couple more from chat, and then I'm going to move to you guys with your hands up. Next question from Dennis. Will there be any benches installed along the Capitol Crescent Trail?
That's a yes. There are.
And Dennis, when we follow up with you, we can try to highlight where those will be so you have an understanding. All right, next question from Marsha. Will the trains be clanging all along the route or just at traffic intersections? Ray, I don't know if you want to take this one with just the nature of how LRV noise works. I know it's a lot quieter. It's a different type of train. So if you would like to address that.
I can try and address it, but I can say if you, as you just saw in the videos that we played throughout here, the trains are really quiet, as you can see in the testing, and even quieter than some of the vehicles that you see on the road. Hopefully that's answering the question. Was there another piece to the question?
Nope, that was it for now. I think it's just a general interest, and we can when we put the Q&A up, we can put some more noise specific information in there. But generally, overall, light rail vehicles are much quieter than your typical heavy rail. So I think you guys will be pleased with that. Okay, let me go to some of the hands that are raised in the chat right now. I'm just going to go from the top to the bottom, so please have patience with me. Joel, let's start with you. Please ask your question.
unmute myself.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for taking these questions. One of the questions already been answered earlier about the reopening the trail, so thank you for that. And the other one is the same question I had before. Now this time it's only 2 instead of 3 companies, the Ride-On and the Metro buses. Now they already have the Bethesda station already have the loop for that section. So maybe that's the same way for the Purple Line. So I hope they don't. Maybe they have to discontinue some of the bus stops on in East West Highway and Wisconsin. So, and thank you for the answer to the other question, the funding and the fare. So hopefully that works out in the future. Hopefully it will be in place so I can have no other no trouble or any problems. So I think that's about it. Thank you for taking these questions, and you have a good evening.
Thank you, Joel. I think we can follow up with you. I'm not sure that we know all the answers to the ultimate bus stops right now, but we can certainly follow up with you. We appreciate your questions. All right, next I'm going to move to Barney. What do you have tonight? Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Thanks. First of all, appreciate the presentation, and also very pleased that all the hard civil construction work has been done behind the 36 homes of our town. I see all the track is laid and a lot of the catenary towers are there. That's great. So that's really good progress. And I should also share with you that we had virtually no complaints from our neighbors about noise during that construction. So the noise wall works. So it's all good. Thank you. Just quickly, I understand it still sounds like there's a bit of a moving target as to when the Capitol Crescent Trail is going to open, so spring or summer of next year. As you know, Ray, we have 2 issues that are still pertinent to residents in our town. One is shielding of the lights that are being installed near the bridge, and also some temporary protective barrier on the fencing to make sure that the residents who live right there have privacy. And so what's still important for us is whom we need to negotiate with and work with to get those 2 issues taken care of. Will that be with you guys, or is it going to be with the county? So we're still interested in knowing who is actually going to be responsible for the trail when it opens.
I can take that, Carla. Good to see you again, Barney. And yes, I've been working with the team. The testing has taken a little bit of our time over the last month, but we're working with the team, and we'll get back to you in the next week or 2 to get some clarity around both those topics. So thank you for just raising it again, and good seeing you on the tour.
Good. Thank you. Yeah, I really enjoyed the tour. That was very interesting and really appreciated your putting that together. Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Barney. All right, it looks like Aletta, you have some more questions. What can we answer for you? You might be on mute, Aletta, or if you don't have a question, that's okay too.
Why is the pedestrian tunnel totally blocked at Coughlin Creek? It's just east of Hamlet Place. Residents and animals used it, and it now appears to be totally blocked. Did I ask it?
Yes, you did. We heard you. Thank you so much. Sorry.
Thank you.
Scott, do you have any insight?
Carla, I'm happy to jump in if you'd like for me to.
Go in.
Sure.
Hi, Aletta. Yes, I'm Christina Contreras Chrissy Contreras with Montgomery County Department of Transportation. Right. And I'm actually researching a lot of that now, looking at old records, but at least with the design plans, the plans were designed that it was to be blocked. I understand that it's a the community had used it like as a footpath and whatnot. So I'm trying to do a deeper dive into it, and I'm really in the middle of it. I just got plans even today on it, and I'm just trying to digest them so that I can come up with a good answer for you.
Thank you very much. Yes, we used it all the time. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, next we have Elizabeth.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth, and I live along the Purple Line between the Bethesda Metro and Chevy Chase Lake. The area behind my house or behind my yard has not been maintained, nor has the temporary fence been maintained, and it's now leaning into my yard. The other area closer to East West has been maintained, and I'm concerned that that work was supposed to extend into my space, but has not. Recently there was an animal that died in that area and became like my yard was unusable this summer because of the scent, and Montgomery County was unable to get to it because of the unmaintained area. So maybe more importantly, my emails and contact forms have not been responded to. So I would just like to know how should I receive communication about this area, and also like how can this be addressed?
Elizabeth, what's your house number?
Would it be okay if I get an email just so I'm not saying that on a community? Thank you. How could I get that to you?
You can email outreach@purplelinemd.com, and I will put my email in the chat as well. I think our construction team can take a look at this, and then you can email me your preferred contact information, and I can look into that with the team.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No problem. All right, next up we have Marcia.
Hi, Carla and team. Really appreciate the opportunity for the outreach to get these periodic meetings from the CAT team. This is a follow-up question about the noise abatement. I noticed even from the video that the LRVs were making sounds as they were moving along the track. And my question is really more in the contents of whether that's going to be a continuous sound that's going to go on day and night, or is it just to alert possible traffic intersections or interactions with either pedestrians, cars, animals, whatever, as the trains move along the tracks. I realize that as they're moving on the tracks, that it's a much quieter sound, but the alert sounds could be disturbing if those are going on day and night in areas that are not traffic intersected.
I can try and take this one, Carla. Sure. I think you're asking about when we do cross intersections. Yes, when you hear a bell, sometimes that is only when we're going across intersections. So it's not like a constant bell that's played day and night. That's more to alert the pedestrians and all of that a train is crossing in that intersection, and to be alert before we cross.
Perfect. That answers my question perfectly. The tracks run right behind my house, and I'm concerned about having those bells clanging day and night. If it's like every 50 feet you ring the bell or something like that.
No, nothing else, nothing like that.
Okay, if it's just for intersections, then that's fine.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ray.
And then
thank you, Carla.
Thank you, Marcia. And I understand Chuck Sullivan, you have a question too. You may not have access to the chat. So if you would like to take yourself off mute and ask a question, we're ready for you.
Okay, this is my first CAT meeting. Can you hear me?
Yes, welcome.
Okay, great, thanks. Yeah, I've been learning a lot listening to everyone's questions. I live on Pearl Street in East Bethesda. And as you know, that goes towards the Capitol Crescent Trail. And then there's a bridge over the Purple Line at the end of Pearl Street. and it connects to Elm Street Park. So it's like the way I access Capitol Crescent Trail right now is through a real hodgepodge bike lanes. It won't be years until they have all the bike lanes so that I can actually ride my bike without sharing the road with cars. If you opened that bridge at the end of Pearl Street, which is built as far as I can tell, then 1,200 homes could access the Capitol Crescent Trail without sharing the road with cars. It'd be a huge gift to the community and provide much safer access to the Capitol Crescent Trail instead of waiting until the whole thing is done. I know when I understand you're going to open parts and not hold up punch list items, but I guess what I'm asking is, can you prioritize the bridge over at the end of Pearl Street so that I can access the Capitol Crescent Trail, the existing one, without sharing the path with cars? I hope I've made myself clear.
I think we understand exactly what you're talking about. And I know there's a lot of factors that are going into why we can't open that right now. Ray, do you want to take a shot at kind of going through all of those coordination and different factors that we're still working through there?
I could try and go through all of it here, but it might be better for us to follow up just to go through everything, because it is a lot of different pieces that go into it. And I hear you on the taking into account some prioritization that does go into account of when we're looking at how we're going across and building things and progressing. So let us take that back and get back to you. I hear your suggestion on that and see if that's even a possibility with how things are sequenced right now, with how things go with the project.
I appreciate that. Hey, if there's real reasons, then I'm not here to fight. But if it's just an arbitrary thing that's kind of a contractual thing that, you agreed to, that you wouldn't open any parts of the trail until it was all done, I would hope that you could relook at that policy, whatever you want to call it, and make an exception in this case, because it's such a huge benefit to the community. And I promise I will rave about you guys to everybody. So great PR. That's all I can say.
No, I hear you on it. I will say we're looking at all the different possibilities to be able to open the CCT as soon as possible for you all. We definitely hear the community on this. So we are exploring all different types of options. So we received the feedback.
And Ray, I'd
Thank
like to
you.
also chime in a little bit, Chuck and Ray, because MCDOT actually has a project within Elm Street Park to kind of continue our second phase of the Capitol Crescent Surface Trail. And so that's tied in along with the construction from that bridge through Elm Street Park to get you back over toward Bethesda Avenue. And so we're looking at the timing of it because we'd like to open that, concurrently with when the Purple Line opens the CCT. So there is that project too that would also hamper the opening of the bridge as well. So I just wanted to at least let you
Please
know.
make it happen. That's all. I think I know you, by the way, when I was a developer.
You do, Chuck. You do.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good to see
I'm
you.
retired now. Yeah, you too.
Congratulations. Not me yet.
I don't know what retirement is, but it's very similar to what I did for 40 years, is this kind of stuff. So anyway, I appreciate anything you can do to move it ahead of schedule. Don't wait till the very end. I'll use it the day it's open. I would have used it today. I love biking, and that bridge is going to be a huge improvement for me. So thank you.
Great.
All right, thank you. All right, now I'm going to move back to the chat. We have a question from Carlos. The noise at 4710 Elm Street site is extremely loud and starts at random times during the night. Is there any way to have some control on the noise level before 6 a.m.? Scott Glass, I know we've got a lot of constraints and a lot of work we're trying to get done there. So maybe you can explain a little bit on how our operations are working currently.
Sure. This is on the west side of Wisconsin Avenue, where the white building is. There's multiple shifts that are underway at that location to to progress our schedule and try to stay on track. So that is always going to, just the operations of people out there working will always have some activity out west of Wisconsin Avenue. To the east of Wisconsin Avenue, though, at the Pearl Street area, there we have been installing rail that will actually be complete here very soon. But that activities in that area are always expected to not start after certainly after 6. I think it's 8 o'clock in that area, and from time to time we do have some conflicts with some equipment maintenance personnel or something going out there, not understanding that that's the time restriction. But west of Wisconsin Avenue, it's going to be continue to be a day and night shift operation to make ensure that we meet this opening date for the Red Line station.
All right, thank you, Scott. I see, let's see what else we have. From Andy, I noted last week there is a bunch of graffiti on the sound walls underneath the east-west highway bridge over the right-of-way. Can that be cleaned up? Also, who will have the continuing responsibility to remove this?
I'll take that one too, Carla. That corridor, first I want to express my appreciation to the folks that live on the whole alignment through the area, particularly where we have the rail installation in progress and the equipment that runs on rails is moving back and forth. It becomes a very controlled work zone from a safety perspective. There's a lot of very serious safety conditions that can occur with rail equipment that moves very quietly. That being said, there's an effort to go out and remedy conditions or concerns that are raised to the outreach, and we do that as timely as we can. But sometimes, especially in the recent months where they've been actively installing the rail in the corridor from Pearl Street up to Connecticut, there's been rail activity that really restricts when we can go out and do that and have access to that area. But that is now finishing up. We'll be able to go out and address some of these things like the graffiti at that particular location. We have also been experimenting with several different solvents to remove graffiti in areas where it's pretty heavy, and we've identified that and ordered very large quantities of it to start that. Location will be happening in the coming weeks. We will have someone out there as soon as it's not a conflict with the rail operations that's going to be complete here in the next week to 2 weeks in that corridor.
Thank you, Scott. And
as far as the maintenance of it, to answer that question, we'll be continuing to maintain it throughout the corridor. There's crews that are going to start to be retooled, so to speak, with specifically this task of maintenance, and that will continue until the Purple Line is handed over to the operator.
Yeah, and then I think I see, Andy, you have a follow-up question. It will be Purple Line Transit operators, who is also on this call. Once we move out of the construction phase, they will be handling that maintenance. And thank you, Khaki, for chiming in. We did respond that that's what Scott was talking about with the solvents. But there is also an anti-graffiti paint that's put on those walls that makes it easier to remove. So I think we're working through that process now. And once we get into the operations phase, we should have that all ready to go. So it will be an ongoing maintenance process that is now with Maryland Transit Solutions and moves to Purple Line Transit operators. Next question from Webb. What percentage of track is now installed for the Montgomery County section, and what percentage will be installed by the end of 2025? And same questions for the OCS in Montgomery County.
The rail installation through the county runs up through Piney Branch Station. And right now we have rail installed from Piney Branch all the way down through Silver Spring to the bridge in Silver Spring. There's some gaps in the Wayne Avenue corridor that are being completed here over the next month, and that will complete all the rail installation for the most part from Silver Spring all the way to the east limit of the Purple Line project. In Montgomery County, we also have rail installed. There's a section from Stewart Avenue to almost Talbot's, or actually just to the east of Talbot Bridge, where we have rail installed. And then there's also rail installed where I mentioned from Bethesda all the way out to Connecticut Avenue. So that remains the gaps in the rail installation from Connecticut Avenue up to Jones Mill, which will be complete. Connecticut Avenue all the way down through to Littonsville Station and Littonsville Bridge Crossing, and that all is in installation process now. That whole rail corridor will be installed complete by the end of the year, and the remaining gap for rail installation will be the corridor from Talbot Bridge up to the Spring Street Bridge, and that corridor there, that zone, will be installed in the early part of 2026. So that's kind of the timeline of when all the rail will be complete on the whole project. And then the overhead catenary system, the installation is about 30% complete for the actual pole erection through from Piney Branch all the way down through to Bethesda. And that process goes a lot faster. It is just having to have the rail installation as a sequence of installations completed. They can't co-locate at the same time for safety reasons and productivity reasons. So they don't, they wait until they have large corridors to install the poles. The poles will be completed through the remaining corridor by late spring of next year. And that includes the installation of the overhead catenary wires by the first part of summer.
Thank you, Scott. Another question for you, Scott. Just Ryan's looking for confirmation that the roadway at Jones Mill Road will be fully restored and completed by the end of 2025.
No, that's not the right understanding. The roadway will be, as far as I think what the answer is looking for is when will the roadway be opened, and we'll do that not by the end of the year, but by early spring next year, open the new lane. However, the final restoration and fully open, there's elements that have to be installed that'll be installed after the roadway's open, because we'll also actually shift the traffic to that new side of the bridge just to enable us to finish the access to the CCT and finalize the noise walls and retaining walls that are down along that CCT access. So it'll be completed, but it won't be fully, to answer your question that you were asking, won't be fully opened until spring of next year when we are able to finish the CCT trail access.
All right. Thank you, Scott. I think I've reached the end of the questions that are in chat right now, and I don't see any other hands up. Does anybody else want to put a question in chat or raise your hand? All right. Well, we really appreciate your time tonight, and we're going to close out the meeting with some before and after photos of all the progress that the team has been able to accomplish. Oh, Delegate Solomon, you're up. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you, Carla. I had put a question in the chat. I was just wondering if you could talk through the outreach efforts. That's a big deal to close Jones Mill for 2 weeks, and just want to make sure that the community knows about it. And then has MCPS been informed, or have folks worked with at all? That's obviously a major route for a number of school buses. There's an elementary school obviously right over there, but that's a route for a big part of the community. I'm just curious if they've been looped in.
Yes, absolutely, we can do that. So we have done coordination with MCPS. We have a call with them every other week, and we raised this a few weeks back with them. So they looped in their transportation folks and did not have any issues. And then I've worked with the school along that alignment and have sent them notifications to their principal and assistants there. So they are disseminating those to parents within the school. We've also put the notification for the closure and detour out through our notification system as well. And so those are all out. Does that answer your question, or would you like me to touch on anything else?
I'm sorry, maybe it got cut off. I don't know if you can still hear me. I was just wondering if you were planning on mailing anything or doing deliveries. I know that's been done before.
I don't think we'll mail anything, but we can definitely do the flyers for the houses and businesses, schools in the closest vicinity there. So my team and MTA will work on that. We'll do some flyers as well. No problem.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you guys so much for your time and patience as we work through construction. We really appreciate it. And now we're going to close out with some photos of all of the progress over the years, so you can see how far we've come. Still have a little ways to go, but we're almost there. So thank you guys. We appreciate you.
Good night.
Good night, Joel.
Hope everything goes well tomorrow.